welcome you to this afternoon's special event. This is a historical event for Lydia Patterson Institute. This is a very special moment, a historical moment in the life of the school, the only institution of the United Methodist Church that sits right on the U.S.-Mexico border. Thousands of lives have been changed here, and many more will be changed in years to come. Today, we welcome you to this memorable occasion, embodied right in the heart of the Segundo Barrio. I would like to start by recognizing some of our guests that we are very proud to have among us this afternoon. And I will start with our General Secretary of Commission on History and Archives, Reverend Fred T. Day III. Will Slavik, New Mexico Commission on History and Archives. Representatives from the New Mexico Historical Society and representatives of the Texas Historical Society. We'd also like to welcome our El Paso Mayor, Di Margo, and his lovely wife, Adair, and author of the book La Lidia, the story of Lydia Patterson Institute through the voices from its history. And she's out there reading the news. Bishop Joel Martinez, retired and LPI alum, and his lovely wife, also a Lydia Patterson alum. Bishop Jimmy Nunn of the Oklahoma Annual Conference. Our chairman of the board, Dr. Andy Stoker. And we welcome all the members of our board of trustees. Principal Ernesto Morales. And faculty and alums. Student members of the National Honor Society, Student Council, and the Student Lay Ministry programs. And lastly, but not least, a warm welcome to former President of Lydia Patterson Institute, Dr. Noé Gonzalez, 1970 to 1982. Welcome home, Dr. Gonzalez. Bienvenidos a todos, and at this time I would like to invite our board chair, Dr. Andy Stoker, to the podium.
Welcome, dear friends. We're so glad that you're here this day and gathered in this space. I give God thanks for the many ways Lydia Patterson goes to serve the future of our communities, both in the United States and in Mexico. I serve as the board chair of the trustees here at Lydia Patterson. I grew up here in El Paso and know the great and deep impact Lydia Patterson has made, not just in El Paso and in Juarez, but all over the South Central jurisdiction of the United Methodist Church. Our Board of Trustees represent the whole region of this part of the world that sees and experiences young people in colleges, universities, churches, businesses, and even other educational institutions. We are so thankful to have this privilege to represent the Board of Trustees, to represent Lydia Patterson for the entire South Central jurisdiction of the United Methodist Church. I want to remind you what we begin every board meeting with and what we end every board meeting with, and that is our statement of intention, how we put our students and their families first. Lydia Patterson Board of Trustees exists to serve students with dignity, to partner with parents to encourage, educate, and enhance their child's life, to create a culture of excellence with our faculty and staff as an educational institution, to be a champion of hope for El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, and the borderland, to prepare women and men for the service to communities and the church, to assist churches everywhere to see that part of their future may just be sitting in a freshman math class in the Segundo Barrio in El Paso, Texas. And finally, we exist to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Lydia Patterson Institute, welcome. We're so glad that you're here and look forward to celebrating this wonderful achievement. I'd like to invite now the Honorable Dean Margot to the podium as he addresses us on behalf of El Paso.
It's a real honor and privilege to be here. If the truth be known, I'm really kind of here given my family involvement with La Lydia over the last several years. I'm here as Mr. Adair Margot. And on behalf of the Adair Margot family and El Paso, we want to welcome all of you here on this auspicious occasion for the designation of this historical tribute to La Lydia. You know, I feel like all kidding aside, I do feel like our family is a part of La Lydia. I mean, we go back to Jose Cisneros, they're doing his history, and also I've been living her work with the book over the last few years, and so I feel like it's really part of our family and is an intimate part. La Lydia is a real jewel. In many cases, La Lydia is analogous to some of the things I'm dealing with as a challenge to El Paso, in that we are kind of an unknown jewel here in El Paso. You've noticed on the national media we've got a little attention lately that whether we liked it or not, and it's still coming. But the point I talk about is the fact that we're a region, we're a binational, bicultural region. We're the largest U.S. city on the Mexican border. We're at the intersection of 3 states: New Mexico, Chihuahua, Texas, and our region comprises 2.5 million people. You all are a part of that. You're an intrinsic part of it. You're a critical part of it. And it's just the fact that hopefully with the things you're doing, this designation, publication, more people will understand. But you are a tremendous asset to this region, to El Paso, and I am honored to welcome all of you here on behalf of the city of El Paso as your mayor. Thank you.
So God, on this day, we do indeed give you thanks. We thank you for the ministry of Lydia over all the years. We thank you for the vision that is implanted in the hearts of the founders and the ones who have carried this forward, even to this present day. A vision to help other people, to serve other people, and to break down barriers rather than to build them up. We thank you for the heritage that we have, the friendships that are built, the admiration that we have for the students here, for the faculty, for the administration, for our president. We give you thanks for all of these things, oh God. We know today that the people who are served, the children, families, are people that are very important to you. And so we pray today that you would look at each family, that you would smile upon their hearts and bless them. May this place, La Lydia, be a school that continues to change lives, to transform the world, to bring peace, to show a better way, to reflect your grace, your mercy, and your love to all who come nearby. Today, we thank you for this historical moment. May it be one that burns in our hearts, not just a reverence for history, but propels us forward as well on a mission. We give you thanks and pray these things in the prayers of our hearts in the name of Jesus our Lord. Amen. Amen.
We are pleased to have with us another one of William Patterson's graduate, Dr. David Maldonado, retired president of ILIV School of Theology. He will bring a reading this evening.
58 years ago, I graduated from Bigger Patterson Institute, along with Victor Ayala, Raul Carranza, and one of my roommates, Joaquin, who is right here as well. So coming into this place brought back many memories, especially to see friends that did not recognize me before. It's good to be back here. I congratulate the school, those who served in the past. Second, it's been my wishes to the faculty. The scripture from today comes from Joshua. When the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and tell them to pick out 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing, and carry them over with you, and put them down at the place where you stay tonight. So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and said to them, go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? Tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones were to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever.
named by Socorro Beande. I am Reverend Alfred Day, General Secretary of the General Commission on Archives and History of the United Methodist Church, the Ministry of Memory of the United Methodist Church, the preservers and promoters of United Methodist ethos and DNA, and I can think of no better testimony to that United Methodist ethos and DNA about making disciples for the transformation of the world than what Lydia Patterson Institute has been up to for more than 100 years. Amen? Today, Lydia Patterson Institute, a historic part of the mission and ministry of Methodists in and around El Paso and Juarez, and what is today the New Mexico Annual Conference. Today, the Lydia Patterson Institute is to receive an Ebenezer. A what? You thought I came all this way to deliver a fancy, distinguished, historic site plaque made of precious metal. No. I'm really here to present Lydia Patterson Institute with an Ebenezer. What a strange sounding name for a presentation on such an auspicious occasion. What a person might wonder is whether I'm here to honor or embarrass Lydia Patterson Institute, giving an award with such a name. I ask you, do you recognize the word Ebenezer? Of course, some will identify Ebenezer with the miserly, mean, cold-hearted character in Charles Dickens' famous Christmas carol, Ebenezer Scrooge. The more churchy among us may recognize Ebenezer as a name often given to church buildings. Why, I looked online when I arrived in El Paso yesterday and found here in El Paso there's at least one Ebenezer church. Iglesias Eban Ezer. That's the Hebrew. Eban Ezer. And there's also a restaurant called Ebenezer. Next time I come, I hope you'll take me. But that's not the Ebenezer that I've come with. Others will recognize Ebenezer from a hymn that we United Methodists love to sing. The hymn is called Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. People of all denominations sing the hymn, though it has Methodist roots. This hymn is often associated with Charles Wesley, when in truth it was written by a guy named Robert Robinson, a contemporary of John and Charles Wesley, a school teacher who was spiritually awakened by the Methodists, who became a lay preacher before, God forgive him, going over to the Baptists. Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy redeeming love. So where's the Ebenezer? It's in the second verse. Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I come, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God, he to rescue me from interposed his precious blood. Enough of the singing, Fred, right? I grew up with that hymn. I have sung it again and again and again in United Methodist churches across the connection, so much so that I've pretty much memorized all the words. And every time I came to the Ebenezer part, I just sang right through it and said to myself every time, Fred, you're a minister, for heaven's sakes. You ought to know what that Ebenezer thing is. And I would just keep singing right through it. I confess to you, I never got around to investigating the Ebenezer until I became the General Secretary of the General Commission on Archives and History and realized that it was my job to hand out Ebenezer, which is why I'm here today. And here is what my word study found. Much like what Dr. Maldonado read from Joshua, there's another story in 1 Samuel chapter 7. The prophet Samuel literally lifts up a large stone monument for his faithful people to look upon. There has been a great victory, a surprising triumph over the enemies of his people, so Samuel the prophet establishes a memorial, a stone of help, which is literally what Ebenezer means, a stone of help. That's how the Hebrew translates English, a stone of help, to remember God had done something right where and when it wasn't expected to go God's people's way. So, Ebenezers are markers commemorating a moment or moments in time or a place where and when God's people overcame overwhelming odds. Ebenezers are symbolic objects meant to authenticate that even though there are times in life it doesn't look like it's going to turn out this way, that God prevails. The Bible story told in 1 Samuel says the prophet celebrating the victory lifted a stone, raised an Ebenezer, called out to the assembly and said, "Everybody here, take in this God moment. Take in this moment when the ways of God prevail, and they might not have." That's exactly why we're here today. That's exactly why we're here today. Why there is more to what we're doing than the presentation and the unveiling of some brass metal plaque. Behold, Lydia Patterson Institute. Behold, El Paso, Texas. Behold, Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. Behold, New Mexico Annual Conference and South Central Jurisdiction of the United States.